Good morning, everyone. I am your reporter for today, together with my partner Diane. So now we will be discussing about joint venture. But first, let us get to know what is the difference between joint venture and co-ownership. A joint venture involves two separate entities collaborating temporarily to achieve a specific business goal, such as completing a construction project, and then dissolving the partnership once the project is finished. Co-ownership, on the other hand, entails two or more partnerships, creating a new, permanent business entity together, sharing both the responsibilities and liabilities of this new company. So joint venture is for short term, kumbaga, kasi they only become one when they are completing a certain project, and yung partnership na nabubuo is also temporary because later on, that partnership will be dissolved if matapos na yung project. On the other hand, the co-ownership is having more connection to more projects and partnership, and they are nagiging long-term siya kasi permanent na yung connection. They have both the responsibilities and liabilities. For the next is joint venture are usually governed by a joint venture agreement that details the rules, profit division, and dispute resolution methods. Co-ownership advantage requires a partnership agreement to outline the terms of the ownership structure and responsibilities, while joint venture are temporary and project specific. Co-ownership signifies a long-term, ongoing business relationship. On the agreement naman, yung joint venture utilizes the agreement that details the rules, profit division, and kung paano yung mga pamamaraan sa pag-solve ng problems that might come in the near future. Same with what I said earlier, it is temporary. And co-ownership naman is mas detailed siya. It's because you really need to outline your agreement kasi pang long term siya. So to continue, we have what is joint venture? A joint venture is a business entity created by two or more firms through an arrangement that typically includes shared governance, resources, profits, losses, and expenses for a particular project. So what do we mean by firm? Firm is a business organization that seeks to make a profit through the sales of goods and services. And it is also a strategic partnership where the two or more companies develop a new entity in order to collaborate on a specific project or venture. This arrangement allows each company to pool their resources, expertise, and capital to achieve a common objective and share the risks and rewards. So it is really project specific, and it requires both of the companies to cooperate and make strategic ways to come up with an efficient and effective goals. So let's proceed. We also have four reasons why companies form joint ventures. First is to leverage resources. Second is to reduce cost. Third is to combine expertise, and the last is to enter foreign market. Let's first discuss leverage resources. Leverage resources can make advantage of the combined resources of both companies to achieve the goal of the venture. One company might have a well-established manufacturing process, while the other company might have a superior distribution channels. So leverage resources is yung systematical use of resources, kung papaano siya gamitin and what resources could still be added, and maximizing the tools and strength of the company to come up with an efficient and effective output. The second one is to reduce cost. By using economies of scale, both companies in the joint venture can leverage the production at a lower per unit cost than they would separately. This is particularly appropriate with the technological advances that are costly to implement. Other cost savings as a result of joint venture can include sharing advertising or labor costs. So, ito naman is mas makakalast ka in your expenses. It's because you have a partner to share on with your expenses for the project. And especially if you are going to buy and implement technological advances, it is a very costly. The one is combined expertise. Two companies or parties forming a joint venture might have different backgrounds, skill sets, or expertise. When these are combined through a joint venture, each company can benefit from one another's talent. So dito naman is combined expertise. You are forming as one team to share your expertise and skills in this field. So mas mapapadali yung pagbuo ng isang project gamit yung mga skills na you have. The last one is to enter foreign market. Another common use of joint ventures is to partner with a local business to enter a foreign market. A company that wants to expand its distribution network to new countries can enter into a joint venture agreement to supply products to a local business, thus benefiting from an already existing distribution network. Some countries have restrictions on foreigners entering their market, making a joint venture with a local entity almost the only way to do business in the country. So aside from combining your expertise, mas mapapalawak mo pa yung connections mo towards the other company and it opens more opportunity, especially to the international market. And we have also the advantages and disadvantages of joint ventures. So first, a joint venture forms each party access to the resources of other participants without having to expend excessive amounts of capital. Each company is able to maintain its own identity and can easily return to normal business operations once the joint venture is complete. Joint ventures also provides the benefit of a shared risk. So, without having to spend excessive amounts of capitals. This is one key point or advantage of utilizing joint venture kasi mas alam mo na yung magkano ang ilalabas mong pera and it is a very easy to adjust once the project is done. And then the disadvantages we have. A joint venture contract commonly limits the outside activities of the participants' companies while the project is in progress. Each company involved in joint venture may be required to sign exclusivity agreements or a non-complete agreement that affects current relationship with vendors or other business contract. So the disadvantages is I want to highlight the word limit. No, it's because once you are in a joint venture, both companies has a limitation and habang hindi pa natatapos yung project. So, in addition to that, joint venture also requires an exclusivity agreement kung saan maaapektuhan na yung relationship mo with the co-ventures or vendors. To continue, we still have on the disadvantages. The contracts under which a joint venture is created may also expose each company to liability inherent to a partnership unless a separate business entity is established for a joint venture. Furthermore, while companies participating in a joint venture shared control, work activities and use of resources are not always divided equally. So there are times no na hindi equal or pantay yung distribution or hindi patas ang paghahati. So now let's focus to your joint ventures. First, we will discuss the following are the example of joint ventures. So first we have if it forms for the purpose of undertaking construction projects. The second is engaging in petroleum, coal, geothermal, and other energy operations pursuant to an operating consortium agreement under a service contract with the government. So, meron kasi tayong tinatawag na incorporated and unincorporated joint venture. What is the difference between the two? So the difference nung dalawa is si incorporated joint venture ay organized as separate and distinct legal entity or legal siya at the election of the participants, while yung unincorporated joint venture is not incorporated as legal entity. Kumbaga, para siyang nagiging illegal and it is only formed by contract. Yung legal entity na yan ang nagkakaiba sila. Then, and dito napapabilang or under this is the unincorporated joint ventures formed to undertake construction projects or those engaged in petroleum, coal, geothermal, or other energy operations under a government service contract kaya siya exempt from joint venture. To continue, as the joint ventures form the purpose of undertaking construction projects, Revenue Registered Number 10/2012 provides the following requisite for them to be considered exempt joint ventures. First, it must be for the undertaking of a construction project. Second, should involve joining or pooling of resources by licensed local contracts. And for the last one is to a license as general contractor by the Philippine Contractors Accreditation Board or the PCAB or of the DTI. So now let's proceed to the examples. San Miguel Corporation and Asia Construction formed a joint venture to undertake a construction project. Profits are to be shared equally. The following information relate to the individual operations of SMC and AC, as well as the operations of the joint ventures for 2019. So we have here the given amounts for the gross income of Asia Construction. We have 20 million. For San Miguel Corporation, we have 30 million. And for joint ventures, we have 150 million. While for the expenses, we have 5 million under Asia Construction, 10 million also for San Miguel Corporation, and 50 million for the joint venture. So now, let's proceed to the illustration. Assuming that all the requisites of the RR number 10/2012 are present, the joint venture shall be treated as tax-exempt and taxability similar to a GPP. Accordingly, the net income of 100 million rather than 150 million minus 50 million is exempt from tax and is therefore distributable income to the joint venture parties. SMC and AC sharing equally the profits would receive 50 million each. So based from the problem that was presented, we have the Asia Construction and the San Miguel Corporation. If these two companies have their own businesses, their income will be taxable if they will for taxable. But if they will form joint venture, yung income nila kapag nabawasan na ng expenses is magiging 150 million, the total gross income, minus 50 million of the total expenses. So that will result to 100 million. This profit is not taxable. It's because they form joint venture. But if this joint venture will form another source of income beyond that, it will be taxable already. So instead of receiving a clear 50 million na walang tax, the calculation will become 150 million minus 50 million, the total expenses, and then the 30% tax rate. So it will become 150 million minus 50 million is equal to 100 million minus 30% tax rate. It will be equivalent to 70 million. Yan na lang yung matitira, and then divide it by 2 for both companies. Ang ma-receive nila na lang nila is 35 million each for Asia Construction and San Miguel Corporation. So let's continue. Since the joint venture is exempt for income tax, the share in the distributable income of SMC and AC shall form part of the parties to the joint venture's computation of the taxable income. Accordingly, taxable income of the companies are as follows. The share of AC and SMC from the income of the taxable joint venture shall be treated as intercorporate dividends and is therefore exempt from income tax and final tax. Accordingly, it is not included in their separate taxable income as computed below. The share of AC and SMC in the net income of the joint venture shall be based on the distributable income after tax, that is 70 million, then 100 million taxable income less 300 million taxed, or 35 million each. And then we have here the table that shows the details and information. So first, for Asia Construction, the gross income is 20 million, and for San Miguel Corporation is 30 million. And then the share in the income tax is 50 million in Asia Construction as well as to San Miguel Corporation. And then expenses, we have 5 million for Asia Construction and 10 million for San Miguel Corporation. And the taxable income for Asia Construction is 65 million and 70 million for San Miguel Corporation. So, bali kining 20 million o 30 million is individual income ni nila din. While ang 50 million is katong nag-joint venture silang duha, which is 150 million ni siya less expense na 50 million. Then ang 100 million na lang i-divide sa ilahang duha, tag 50 million sila, then exempt from tax panina income. Ang total sa tanan profit nila dito pa sila mabawasan as individual taxpayer. Next, if however the joint venture enter into a purpose other than those which were exempt, then the joint venture shall be taxable as a corporation and is therefore liable for 30 million income tax. That is 150 million minus 50 million times 30% tax. And note that the rate of regular corporate income tax is now 25% under the CREATE law. So here is dire na if ever na ang pag-joint venture nila sa agreement nila na dapat maura na ang source of income. Tapos kapag naisip nila na mangita og other sources of income na silang duha, dito na sila mahatagan og tax which is 30% rate. Kay beyond na siya sa agreement of joint venture naman ang ilahang na practice. And here it is also a table that shows the informations. And lastly, it is kay mangita man sila og other source beyond sa ilahang agreement as joint venture. So katong supposed to be nga exempt income nila which is 150 million, then bawasan og 50 million sa na expenses, ang 100 million is mataksa na siya, bawasan sa og tax bago tungaon sa duha ka corporation nga kadtong isa corporation ay tong AC and SMC, and then maotong tig 35 na lang sila sa total.
A pleasant morning to each and everyone. So let's start. What is co-ownership? Co-ownership is the ownership of an individual, thing or right belongs to different person. There shall likewise be the treatment of an estate under extrajudicial settlement, where the estate is not treated as a separate taxpayer. On the other hand, co-ownership is an individual or group that shares ownership of an asset or property. For instance, Sarah and Anne purchase a house together as co-partners. Well, in this example, Sarah and Anne have the equal rights and responsibilities regarding the house, and the most important thing is that they have a clear agreement. Usually, the co-ownership is not taxable due to limited preservation in the income. Despite of being not taxable, but when it comes to producing investment, the co-owners will be subjected to income tax. Next, what are the sources of co-ownership? Apparently, co-ownership has 5 sources. First, co-ownership by law. Second, co-ownership by contract. Third, co-ownership by chance. Fourth, co-ownership by occupation or occupancy. And lastly, co-ownership by succession or will. Co-ownership by law. For instance, a married couple, Anna and Ruru, as a joint tenant, have equal protection and entitlement to the property. When one of the spouse died, automatically, the surviving spouse will receive the inheritance. But before the spouse receives the inheritance, he or she need to pay the financial obligation before transferring the inherited property or asset. Co-ownership by contract. It's built a legally binding contract that governs the joint ownership regarding the property. So it is crucial to co-owners to ensure the smooth and preventing conflicts with the betterment of the property. Co-ownership by chance. It is something that you didn't expected or plan to have a shared ownership. Let's say, Sarah's relative passed away due to accident, but that relative actually named her as a beneficiary of her asset or property. Well, as a beneficiary, she need to transfer it to her in a legal way. Co-ownership by occupation or occupancy. Let's say Anne, Joy, and Ria are friends who decided to live together in an apartment and sign a lease agreement so they can decide whatever improvements they want in the room. Also, co-ownership by occupation does not confer legal ownership rights. And lastly, the co-ownership by succession or will. Anna's grandmother passes away. In her will, she'll leave her property as part of her estate to Sarah, Jen, and Eve as the beneficiaries. The property is designated among the three according to the instruction of the grandmother. Okay, let's begin with characteristic number one, which is the must be more than one subject or owner. Well, second, there is one physical whole divided into ideal shares. Well, co-owners has defined portion of shares of the whole ownership. Number three, each ideal share is definite in amount but is not physically segregated from the rest, while co-owners has defined portion of shares in the whole ownership. Regarding the physical whole, each co-owner must respect each other in the common use, enjoyment, or preservation of the physical whole. They have shared responsibility to respect and cooperate as the co-owners. Also, they must consider the interests and rights of their co-owners. Number 5. Regarding the ideal share, each co-owner holds almost absolute control over the same. Each of the co-owners has significant control in terms of managing, transferring, or disposing of the shares within the agreements of the applicable law. Number 6. It is not judicial person. Co-ownership is a legal relationship between individual co-owners when jointly own the property. Number 7. There is no mutual agency, so that it means they are responsible for their action and responsible in their own. Number 8. There is no extinguishment upon the death of any co-owner. The deceased co-owners shall be transferred according to its will. Number 9. A co-owner is in a sense a trustee for a co-owners. They have the responsibility to manage and protect the shared property as a co-owners. On the other hand, characteristics of co-ownership are crucial because they define the relationship and establish the rights, responsibilities, and obligations of the co-owners. The advantages of having a co-partner in business is you have a partner to pull the financial obligation so that you can make it affordable and you can share the expenses. And that's all. Thank you.